Hello guys and welcome to a preview about the Q4 content drop on rFactor 2 in 2022. Today we're going to present two new DLCs to you, one new racing car and one new racing track. So let's start with the car first, as rFactor 2 is bringing the Vanwall Vandervell LMH Hypercar to the rFactor 2 simulation. So many of you have asked me the questions about the stream or on the stream, whether I think if rFactor 2 is bringing some hypercars to the simulation. And I can finally answer that with yes, because that Funval hypercar is going to be the answer to the iRacing's BMW announcement. But more importantly, is an addition to the rFactor 2 simulation when it comes towards the future, when it comes to the 2023 regulations or the current regulations also in the World Endurance Championship. So let's find out about the Vanwall Vandervell LMH Hypercar first. So here it is, here it comes. Here is the first rFactor 2 Le Mans Hypercar. The Vanwall Vandervell LMH car comes with a Q4 content drop in 2022 and developed by Vanwall themselves. This car uses a 4.5 V8 Gibson engine and a bespoke chassis is created to meet the Le Mans Hypercar regulations as defined per ACO and the FIA, with a planned use in 2023 in the FIA World Endurance Championship by the team itself. This car is a special addition to the rFactor 2 simulation for many reasons, of course. Personally, I've seen this chassis inside the Baikonur's Vanwall factory, and obviously I've spoken to the drivers, having driven this machine already around the race tracks here in Europe, doing some testing. Being partnered up with the Vanwall racing team, of course, in the Le Mans Virtual Series is another addition to why it is so special to see this car come into rFactor 2. The car will be available on the rFactor 2 store for $4.99, or you find it within the Q4 content drop pack, where you can save up to 30% on the price. So we're looking forward to race this machine, obviously, in various racetracks on rFactor 2. And soon you will see this machine being taken out a lot of times. But now we're heading it out on a new track that is coming to rFactor 2. It is already known what kind of track it is, but it's now finally coming to the public, the Bahrain International Circuit. So, the Bahrain International Circuit is coming to rFactor 2, and you need to know that it is the first ever laser scanned version of this racetrack. We've seen the Bahrain International Circuit already in the Le Mans Virtual Series in September 22, and back then it was a season opener for the 8 hours of Bahrain, and it was raced in the Grand Prix layout configuration. As you have seen on the video already, Bahrain comes with up to 4 layouts which can be used, which is the Grand Prix layout, the Endurance layout, which is a shame that we didn't race that one, but fair enough, the outer layout, as well as the paddock. Bahrain obviously is a fabulous racetrack that contains many high-speed corners, long straights, heavy braking zones, as well as tight and twisty sections. Therefore, the track suits multiple racing styles and is perfect for providing overtaking as seen in Formula 1 and the FIA World Endurance Championship as well as many other formats. Speaking to the drivers after the Le Mans Virtual Series season opener, the feedback was great about the track itself, and many drivers obviously stated that it feels exactly like the real track and therefore will be a popular and great addition to the rFactor 2 simulation. But let's not talk longer about this track, let's finally race it. So, here we are guys, we are in Bahrain in the pit road and we are looking at the brand new Vanwall Vandervell Hypercar. And yeah, before we take it out on track, of course we're checking the setup options. And as you can imagine, as it is a prototype car, there are a lot of options. So, as you know, the car is being powered by a 4.5 liter V8 Gibson engine. A Gibson engine is also used in the LMP2 car, and especially these hypercars are quite close to the LMP2s in general. However, as you can see, the starting fuel, 120 liters are a possible thing here in the car. So the tank is really huge, and the tank will surely get this car up to 1 hour of running time. It got a 6-gear gearbox. It got standard and Le Mans packages when it comes to the gearing itself. The gearing is a fixed though, so you cannot set it. And compared to the LMP2 car, you also got a TC slip angle, which you don't have in the LMP2. And you have a higher ref limiter, so the engine is a lot stronger as it is naturally aspirated and therefore being driven by RPMs itself. It got only one setting for the brake ducts, as they are identical front and back. We have the new tires on, so soft, medium, hard, intermediates and wets. And looking at the suspension, interestingly, in the default setup, the anti-roll bar in the back is stiffer. I want to put that down a bit. And anything else, we just leave it. As you can see, got spring rates, packers, ride height. The third spring is available to be set. And the same, obviously, on the dumper side. You got slow and fast dumpers for all. For every tire literally, and you got a third spring suspension setting, so it is quite close to the modern Formula Pro car when it comes to the setup possibilities. Nothing really to be set here on the chassis side. You can set the wheel range, but now guys, let's find out how the car drives and how it looks like. So we're in the cockpit right now, and I show you some very new feature that comes to rFactor 2 with this car. It will also be in different cars, but we will have it in this car. Really good to look at. You have a look at over the left bar of the wheel, you see another set of LEDs. So I'm gonna ref, traction control off, and there we go. So have you seen this? I'm checking if I can flip in the gear again. The clutch is, well, it's a traction control, the clutch working nicely, but as you can see, we have white lights for brakes and purple lights for flipping rear tires. So rFactor 2 has now come up with a system to indicate traction control working, or better say also us locking up the tire. As you will be able to see as we turn to the, well, we just do a massive brake and you see that the tire lights are flashing. Anyway, that was just to get you guys another goodie out of this new content, out of this new hypercar. And this is the actual view when you are in a cockpit of a hypercar or even an LMP2 car. I have stuck my head into one of these cockpits when we were at the Baikonur's factory, and I can tell you, these things are so small and you can't really see out of it. Anyway, thankfully we can move the seat position here on rFactor 2. You see the indicators down there, they're gonna disappear to an extent. I'm gonna leave it like this because I want to see on the left hand side. You still see like all the left part of the screen currently is being blocked by the A-soil is how I usually call it, but by the cockpit edge. Anyway, we're out on our first lap with the hypercar, and we're out on the great Bahrain circuit. And for obvious reasons, well, not as obvious as you might think, but because we're in an endurance car, we're running on the endurance layout that comes to rFactor 2 now. And guys, I gotta say, how amazing is this? You see, I've not done any track walk before or anything, but it's so great that we have this endurance part also covered in this version of the track. Now you'd be like, why do you want to drive this Mickey Mouse kind of thing? To be entirely honest with you, because it's so technical. I think as a driver it is a really tricky and although fun section to deal with or to drive on. And so I really appreciate we have it in the game. And I think it's a bit of a shame that we didn't race that in Le Mans Virtual. But it is what it is. As you can see that we're locking up the front left continuously in this awesome turn 10 that makes you lock up the front left. But I not only feel it on the wheel, I can also see it in the cockpit with the indicators. Another short initial lockup. Here, the traction control working for us or against us, however you want to see it. About the engine sound, about the engine itself, you hear the Gibson engine. It sounds very similar to the LMP2 car, but it sounds different. And I think I like that a little bit more, for sure. I'm not as much a fan of the LMP2 sound overall, as that other AA car just comes to pit road. And we're finding out how quick the car goes down the main straight. We're hitting 307. And we are lacking on the braking point because I'm still believing I'm sitting in an LMP2 car with a maximum of 75 liters on board, but I got 115 liters on board, so a lot of weight. And to be all honest with you, I think in the current condition it is slower than an LMP2 car. Yes, my setup is not fiddled out at all for this particular car, but just the general way it behaves, it feels a bit lazy here in the corners actually, and it didn't produce an overly high top speed, as you may have seen. We were running... What? Track limits, copy. We were running 307 down the main straight as we're trying to overtake this guy. Yes. Not as easy. Oh, I bonked him. I'm so sorry. Yeah, AI and its driving. Sometimes pretty unpredictable. And as it is a new track, probably the AI still needs some optimization and tweaks. That's no excuse though, I'm not allowed to claw into the back of someone. Anyway. We were doing 307 on the main straight, and I remember, or I think I remember, doing 301 or 300 with the LMP2 car. So that is just a 7 kph advantage. However, mechanically or here in the corners, I think I have not quite the performance than in the LMP2 car. We're gonna see a lap time now that is not directly comparable to the LMP2 car, but later on I will take the shortcut, so the Grand Prix circuit, to roughly estimate what would be the lap time on the Grand Prix circuit. About the car, obviously Bicolors has built it, or Vanwall Racing has built it, and has given the data out to Studio 397 exclusively for the moment. They have worked out together with Studio 397 to be very spot on when it comes to the car physics and to the car dynamics. So from a first drive right now, I mean, obviously, yes, I have not esports raced the car yet, but you see it, as soon as I'm start to slide a little bit, the car is cutting in with the traction control, and the car is stay on the track. And the car is certainly slower than when it just points the right direction, as you can see right here. And I think that is great. I think that is really what we need. Yes, rFactor 2 is a little bit known for being a drift slide simulator. So every car that is not drift sliding to be fast is a good addition, of course. And I think you really see it. You need to be careful. Yes, you can lean on the traction control, excuse me. But after all, if you're sliding the rear, if you are going around left and right too much, I don't think it's quick. First general feeling. Every time I'm losing the rear, I need to immediately counter-react on it to disengage the traction control and to actually get the power down on the road. And I think that is something different as we've seen it. Yes, there was a little bit of a slide, but again, it's not like that you slip and slide it into a turn in order to be quick with it. It's more like you're driving it like a race car. Also, you can see on the pedal indicator on the brakes, you need to be very careful to not lock it up. You can't really smash the brakes hard. So that is obviously interesting and very well done. Way too late. Yes, I am so down in an LMP2 right now. But I guess you get my point, really. What I like about the brakes being, I don't think it's weak. It's weak on the brakes. It's just it has a long braking distance because of its weight and everything. I mean, remember we're still carrying over 100 liters of fuel right now, and it is lazy. And I think that is good though for the racing itself, because a longer braking zone means you can have more side-by-side racing when it comes down, you know, braking side-by-side and going for a rather late-ish move. There is still margin for error. So you see, as soon as you start drift sliding it, you're more counter steering and have more issues to get the power down. So that is great about the car. Now let's talk a little bit more about the track. I think I forgot to mention the pricing of the track. You'll get the track including all 4 layouts for $8.99 on the Studio 397 store. For those still storing and shopping via the Steam store, I will obviously put down the links for the track and for the car in the video description down below. And what do you think of the car? What do you think of the Vanwall Vandervell LMH car as of right now? Put it down in the comments area below. Let us have a chat about it. Oh, this time I was hard on the brakes. So it's still not full brake, but really hard. No anti-lock braking system in the car, obviously. You got the usual car dials to 4 different engine mixtures. Still too late. Once you lock up, you're literally done with the braking zone. Anyway, we keep going. So let's talk about the track. The Bahrain International Circuit for the first ever time is laser scanned and makes its way into the rFactor 2 simulation. As far as I know, it's not available on any other simulation on an official DLC content base. Let's count F1 Codemasters games not as a simulator as such. Of course, there the tracks are available, I think, even though not laser scanned. So that makes this entry to rFactor 2 very, very unique, as we're coming across another hypercar ahead of us. Wrong gear. And as I already mentioned, it comes out with 4 configurations. The Grand Prix circuit, the endurance circuit that we're currently on, and also the outer circuit that has been raced by F1, I think 2 years ago during the pandemic, where we had the short season. And then there is the paddock version, which is, I think it goes right after turn 3, and then you're straight onto the back straight and into this sector here. Or might even be a shortcut here onto that back straight with a drag strip down. I never raced it, so I can't tell really. But anyway, it's 4 configurations that you are racing, or that you can race here. And I think we will have a great time with this racetrack, because it will come to LFM, it will come to Formula Pro if that happens again. It already was in Le Mans Virtual Series, as you've seen, and I think we can look forward to having a great racetrack to race on here. Feedbacks of the drivers that I have talked to, like real life drivers that have raced at the track already in their life, they say it's the most accurate version of Bahrain that they have ever seen on a sim. Of course, there is modding groups, modding racetracks and bringing them out, but the accuracy of everything the drivers just said is just mind-blowing on what rFactor 2 and Studio 397 have produced here. And I think I want to agree on that, as we're trying to go on that opponent. We needed to leave the space, a bit argy-bargy, touchy, but we're through for the moment. Yeah, they are running on lower fuel, I guess. And it will be a popular racetrack, I'm sure. It also is, you know, it contains everything. It contains slow and twisty sections. It contains high-speed corners, as we're coming up to the section now with the high-speed corners. Arguably, not too many high-speed corners, but very importantly, you got heavier braking zones on the track. You got a little longer straight where you can go into the draft, into the slipstream. Such as here on the back straight towards turn 15. Or well, in that configuration it's more like turn 22. Anyway, what I mean is like this straight out of a second gear turn, you accelerate up to the 6th gear, having a heavy braking zone into the final turn. But more importantly, if you can't make it stick on this circuit or on this straight, you have another straight to be able to get a move done as you're having even more high speed. So, as we have now raced the endurance part, I need to smash the tires to get this turn 1 done. I will have massive flat spots now, but anyway, to show the lap time, the comparison to an LMP2 car, we're now gonna go take the shortcut. And I hope not for any invisible walls right now, but we're taking the shortcuts. There we go, perfect. Into the Grand Prix section. And remember, in the more virtual series, I think we did 43s, 44s with an LMP2 car. You have no timer right now here because we are on an invalidated lap, of course, but I have something here on my dash, so I'm able to give you at least a heads up. It will be interesting to see this car being raced then with the other prototypes. From from a general point of view, I believe that a hypercar should be faster, at least as fast as an LMP2. But I think actually faster. Yet I feel in the corners that it's much slower, and you see it on the lap time straight. Again, we have no esports setup and we have nothing fiddled out. But the lap time would have been a 1:49.4, which is roughly 4 to 5 seconds slower than an LMP2 car at this stage. Now you can argue about the fuel and everything, but at the end of the day, you have to admit that the hypercar currently, in its current version, is slower than an LMP2 on rFactor 2. Whether that will change, that means whether the LMP2 gets slowed down or the hypercar may be sped up somehow, remains uncertain as of right now. Remember, this is a preview. Remember, there might still be some final tweaks to the car and everything. I might be also completely wrong. I have to admit that I have not dealt 100% with the regulations for hypercars. So maybe it's also designed to be slower, but in my inner mind I think it's not, as the other hypercar that we have with the DPI, I mean, it's also not faster as the LMP2, kinda same fast. But yeah, I think when we're talking about a balance of performance right now, this car lacks a little bit right there. Anyway, guys, I think we're coming here to an end. We're gonna box the car. And yeah, what do you think about the track? I mean, you've seen it probably in the Le Mans Virtual Series broadcasts already. From tomorrow onwards, you guys will be able to race it as it comes to rFactor 2 as an official DLC. $8.99 for the track, once again $4.99 for the car. And if you get the Q4 content drop pack, then you can save up another up to 30% of your monies, as it also includes the new BTCC content, which we're going to do another video on as well. And I think the new Formula E track around London. Anyway, guys, we're coming back to pit road. I hope you have enjoyed the short outing here on the track as we are coming back to pit roads. And yeah, again, what do you think about the track? What do you think about the car? Put it down in the comment area below. So that sums it up for the Vanwall Vandervell LMHC and the Bahrain International Circuit. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I hope you will come back for seeing more rFactor 2 racing, as there is more content coming within the Q4 drop 2022. Anyway, guys, if you appreciate this, then please make sure you are subscribed to the channel, ring the bell so you receive notification when we're doing more live streams and more content drop previews here on the channel. And beyond that, what do you think about the track? What do you think about the latest edition? Put it down in the comment area below and enjoy racing on rFactor 2. See you and goodbye.